Dhyanamoolam Gurormurtihi Pujamoolam Gurorpadam Mantramoolam Gurorvakyam Bhaktimoolam Guror Kripa Cheto Darpanamarjanam Bhavamaha Davagni Nirvapanam Shreyah Kairavachandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadhu Jeevanam Anandam Buddhivardhanam Pratipadam Purnavritasvadanam Sarvatmasnapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Yo Brahmanam Vidadhati Purvam Yo Vaivedanscha Prahinoti Tasmai Tagvang Devamatma Buddhi Prakasham Mumukshurvai Sharanamaham Prapadye. Respected devotees of Sri Maharaji, can I have respected viewers, Radhe Radhe to you all. As is our practice and tradition here at Radha Madhav Dham, we begin every satsang with a prayer, Dainik Prarthana. This prayer is the quintessence of Vedic knowledge of all the scriptures in Sanatan Dharma. I have the honor of leading it today. I will repeat it. I will say it once, and I'd like you all to repeat it. And along with that, please let us also reflect on the inherent meaning of this divine prayer. So we can all say with our hands, palms together. You're welcome to close your eyes if you wish. And feeling the presence of Sri Radha Krishna in front of you, let us all recite this humble prayer. Shri Gurave Namaha. Namaha. Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Gurave Namaha. Acharyam mam vijaniyan navmanyeta karhichit namartya buddhya suyeta sarvadeva mayo guru. He param priyatam,
हे परम प्रियतम
पूर्णतम पुरुषोत्तम श्री कृष्ण.
पूर्णतम पुरुषोत्तम श्री कृष्ण,
तुमसे विमुख होने के कारण,
तुमसे विमुख होने के कारण
अनादिकाल से हमने
अनादिकाल से हमने
अनंत दुख पाए
अनंतानंत दुख पाए
एवं पा रहे हैं.
एवं पा रहे हैं।
पाप करते करते
पाप करते करते
अंतःकरण
अंतःकरण
इतना मलिन हो चुका है कि
इतना मलिन हो चुका है कि
रसिकों द्वारा
रसिकों द्वारा
यह जानने पर भी
यह जाने पर भी
कि तुम अपनी भुजाओं को पसारे
कि तुम अपनी भुजाओं को पसारे
अपनी वात्सल्यमयी दृष्टि से
अपनी वात्सल्यमयी दृष्टि से
हमारी प्रतीक्षा कर रहे हो.
हमारी प्रतीक्षा कर रहे हो।
तुम्हारी शरण में नहीं आ पाता.
तुम्हारी शरण में नहीं आ पाता।
हे अशरण शरण,
हे अशरण शरण,
तुम्हारी कृपा के बिना
तुम्हारी कृपा के बिना
तुम्हें कोई जान भी तो नहीं सकता.
तुम्हें कोई जान भी तो नहीं सकता।
ऐसी स्थिति में
ऐसी स्थिति में
हे अकारण करुण,
हे अकारण करुण,
पतित पावन श्री कृष्ण,
पतित पावन श्री कृष्ण,
तुम अपनी अहेतुकी कृपा से ही
तुम अपनी अहेतुकी कृपा से ही
हमको अपना लो.
हमको अपना लो।
हे करुणा सागर,
हे करुणा सागर,
हम भुक्ति मुक्ति आदि
हम मुक्ति मुक्ति आदि
कुछ नहीं मांगते.
कुछ नहीं मांगते।
हमें तो केवल
हमें तो केवल
तुम्हारे निष्काम प्रेम की ही
तुम्हारे निष्काम प्रेम की ही
एकमात्र चाह है।
एकमात्र चाह है।
हे नाथ,
हे नाथ,
अपने विरद की ओर देखकर
अपने विरध की ओर देखकर
इस अधम को निराश न करो।
इस अधम को निराश न करो।
हे जीवन धन,
हे जीवन धन,
अब बहुत हो चुका,
अब बहुत हो चुका।
अब तो तुम्हारे प्रेम के बिना,
अब तो तुम्हारे प्रेम के बिना
यह जीवन मृत्यु से भी अधिक भयानक है।
मृत्यु से भी अधिक भयानक है।
अतएव प्रेम भिक्षाम देहि,
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 प्रेम भिक्षाम देहि।
साकेत बिहारी श्री राघवेंद्र सरकार की, वृंदावन बिहारी श्री यादवेंद्र सरकार की, श्रीमत् सद्गुरु सरकार की जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे। Please join me in chanting the divine names. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Krishna 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 Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Krishna 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 Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Rama
हरे हरे
हरे राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे
हरे राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे
हरे राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे
हरे राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे
हरे राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे
हरे राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे
हरे राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे
हरे राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे
हरे राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे
हरे राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे
हरे राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे
हरे राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे
हरे राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे
हरे राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे
हरे राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे
हरे राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा
divine souls. Quite often, devotional practitioners say, my mind doesn't listen to me. My mind tells me to go to sleep. My mind wavers. So, in other words, our mind, the master mind, dominates us, and we, as individuals, we follow its dictates. The question then arises as to how can one control their mind? So my beloved Gurudev Jagadguru Shree Kripaluji Maharaj has answered this question by taking us into the scriptures. Sri Maharaji tells us, as Sri Krishna has spoken in the Gita, in the 12th chapter of the Gita, verse number 8, Sri Krishna tells Arjuna, Mayyeva mana adhatsva mayi buddhim niveshaya. O Arjuna, offer your mind to me and offer your intellect to me. Arjuna thinks, I have only one thing. And that one thing is my mind. But my Lord is asking me for the mind and the intellect. So, yes, it is true that we have only one mind, but the one mind we have has two facets, two states of the same one mind. So when our mind is thinking, desiring, contemplating, it is what we call in Hindi, man, our mind. It's the mind. And when the same mind is passing judgment, making decisions, then the same mind is known as buddhi, the intellect. It is also described in the Vedas, Atmanagvam rathinan vidhi shariragvam rathameva tu buddhim tu sarathim vidhi manaha pragrahameva cha. Kathopanishad. Indriyani hayanahur vishayagvamasteshu gocharan atmendriya manoyuktam bhokte tyahur manishinaha. Kathopanishad. So the Lord says that I have given you a chariot. I have given you a chariot, and with horses pulling it. The mouth of the horses are held by the reins, and the reins are being held by the driver, the charioteer. And in this chariot, there is also a passenger seated. So the chariot is this physical form, this physical material body, this human body that we all possess. Yes. And the horses are our sense organs. The reins, the mind, are the reins. Yes. And the charioteer, the driver, is the intellect. And the passenger in this chariot is the soul. So God refers to the mind and the intellect separately. So just as the reins are at the mercy of the driver, the charioteer, Similarly, our mind is at the mercy of the intellect. In other words, the mind is a servant of the intellect. This is to say that the mind is governed or controlled by the intellect. We perform so many different tasks all throughout the day, despite the fact that our mind does not wish to cooperate. It does not wish to do so. For instance, a child unwillingly gets out of bed in the morning because he knows he has to get to school. The parents also themselves do not wish to get out of bed, but the father does so unwillingly because he has to get to work. Likewise, the mother gets out of bed because she has to prepare breakfast. So we carry out so many various different kinds of tasks superficially just to put up an act. That is what we do all throughout the day. We do not wish to welcome someone in our house, but we do so. Not because we want to, no, because we have to. So in other words, the mind cannot revolt against the wishes of the intellect. Similarly, our intellect firmly believes that happiness exists in material accomplishments, and therefore the mind is always chasing worldly things, the objects of our five senses, is always running after them. Our faulty intellect does not understand that, or does not want to accept that this world, or worldly happiness rather, is a mirage, even though every single day we experience, or it experiences, momentary happiness followed by yet another desire and a spell of discontentment upon the unfulfillment of desires, and so on. So whatever I just explained as a way of reinforcing it, I'm going to share with you a story. Once a disciple asked his guru, "Why can't I meditate on God? What is the reason? Though I try very hard day and night, but this wretched mind of mine, it wanders off from one place to another. I grab a hold of it, I bring it back, and no sooner have I done so that it's gone again." So the Guru smiled compassionately at the disciple, but uttered no words in response to his question. So the disciple considered his question to be a pivotal one. How could he progress without an answer? So a few days later, the Guru invited his disciple to join him on his morning walk through the forest. So as they were walking, it wasn't long before the Guru paused under a tree and, pointing to some filth, to some excreta on the forest floor, the Guru said to the disciple, "Do you see that filth with those worms crawling all over it?" So the disciple said, "Yes, Guruji, I do." So then the Guru said, "I want you to pick up one of those worms and place it on that fragrant flower." So the disciple did as he was told. And within seconds, the worm slithered off the flower through the moist grass on the forest floor back into that filth. So the Guru then asked him, "Did you understand? Understand?" You were asking me why you cannot meditate on God, and this little fellow just gave the answer. So with palms joined, little red-faced, the disciple humbly inquired with his guru to give an explanation. So the guru told him that just as this worm is conditioned to loving the excrement, believing that there is nothing better than that, your mind bound by Maya is attached to the hollow, illusionary pleasures of this world. It is accustomed to loving the hollow, illusionary pleasures of this world. You cannot sustain meditation on God because your mind is still under the illusion that everlasting, that infinite divine happiness, in fact, exists in material things. That inner fulfillment that you seek outside of you, that is where your attachment lies. In all of these things, your mind believes that it actually exists, and therefore you search for it in everything outside of you. That is what happens. Just as if an insect that lives and breathes in a drain, if that insect were to be placed in a bottle of perfume, it will die. It won't survive. Similarly, an alcoholic, a drunkard, lying in a gutter, if he were asked, "Why aren't you home?" what would his answer be? "I'm home." So in the same way, similarly, we habitually think, due to our continuous practice over the course of infinite lifetimes, that this world is in fact a source of that perfect, ever unending, infinite, unlimited happiness that we desire, which is our inner desire, that it exists. So until we forcibly convince the intellect through the cudgel of spiritual knowledge and strengthened by spiritual practice, the mind will continue to believe what is in that infinite divine happiness. It will continue to believe that it actually exists in this world. So the mind is at the mercy of the intellect. And what is the intellect? The intellect is the faculty of knowledge. It is a gift of knowledge endowed upon us by God. And what does the intellect do? We have intelligence, right? So we have that intrinsic capacity as individuals to discriminate, to determine, to understand between right and wrong. We have the power of discrimination. So our scriptures tell us that it is in the absence of this knowledge in our intellect that our mind is consistently and relentlessly chasing worldly things in hope of achieving that happiness. So if our intellect understands that it in fact does not exist in the world, that anything and everything in this world is simply transient, it is not everlasting, If our intellect can understand this knowledge, then because the mind is at the mercy of the intellect, instead of looking forward in the world, our mind, governed by the intellect, will seek that exact fulfillment in God, which is where it exists. In fact, God Himself personified is that perfect, everlasting, ever-increasing divine happiness that we seek. So, this is the relationship between the intellect and the mind. So, how to tame the mind? Well, we have to strengthen the intellect on the basis of spiritual knowledge. We have the power to understand, to absorb, to comprehend that knowledge, which is why we as individuals or humans, we are apart from all other living creatures. You see, that is why Bharatri has described what sets us apart. Why are we known as humans? What sets us apart from other living creatures? Because, as Bharatri has described, Ahar Nidra Bhay Maithun. Ahar, we eat, other living creatures eat. We fear, they fear. We sleep, they sleep. Humans procreate, so do other living creatures. But there's one attribute that sets us apart, and that attribute is knowledge. Knowledge, vivek. That faculty of knowledge we possess. And in the absence of this, if we do not utilize this power of discrimination to strive for what we have been given this human birth, then we are no better than an animal. This is what the scriptures tell us. So it is that one attribute of virtue that we possess that sets us apart. So as humans, this is exactly why we have been endowed with a human birth, so we can elevate ourselves. Have we ever thought why our body is always vertical? Have we ever thought that all other living creatures, they have a horizontal form? Horizontal. We're vertical. What does that mean? It means that we have an opportunity to elevate ourselves, go further, go up, higher and higher, and reach the highest, divine happiness, divine love. But if we don't, then we are setting ourselves up to become horizontal for innumerable lifetimes we couldn't even possibly imagine. That's why our scriptures tell us, Ihache dashagad bodhum praksharirasya visrasaha tatah sargeshu lokeshu sharirattvaya kalpate. So we have this privilege, this great opportunity to elevate ourselves. And so the scriptures advise us to utilize this power of discrimination for what it has been endowed upon us, so we can become permanently, eternally happy and gratified. So I'll leave you with these thoughts. Shrimat Sadguru Sarkar ki, Ladli Lal ki.